What up, what up, what up, Joe? How you doing?
Doing good. It's been a long week, man. It's a long week. I'm tired. I feel it in my bones. I need some rest.
Joe, I was asleep 7 minutes ago.
I believe
I
it, bro.
woke up and I looked and it was 9:55.
What were you doing? Were you cuddled up with Chica?
Nah, man, I made Chica her coffee this morning and I decided I was going to go back to sleep for 30 more minutes before getting to work. And 3 hours later, here I am.
Yeah. Damn.
Poor Chica, man. She gets to work early, man.
Yeah, no, man. Tell me about it.
She cleans the teeth of 14 to 16 people a day. That's a lot, man.
That's a lot of work, dude.
She works her ass off.
Oh, I'm just tired. It's been a long work week here. Looking forward to maybe trying to plan out a little vacation for myself here. I don't know where I'm going.
Where are you going?
I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. I'm still kind of thinking about where do I want to go? What am I going to do? Do I want to keep it kind of local and just stay here in Texas and go and, do something here? Or do I want to get on a plane and do something else,
Right.
Trying to think about time wise as well, like how many days am I going to request to have off for vacay,
Fernandez already in Vegas yet?
Yeah, he's in Vegas already. He'll be our correspondent. Yeah, he'll be our correspondent. I got to get him, got to talk with him. I'm going to probably hit him up later on today.
PTS TV says you're going to Galveston with the caca water.
Caca water. No, bro. I'm good. I'm good. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to I want to go to a Texas coast or anything like that. Thinking more a resort. If I'm going to do something, I want to be in at a resort.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That is Joe Garcia. We are powered by PF Chang's, the La Cantera location. We talk sports, pop culture, nostalgia, lots of Spurs talk as well. ESPN just a few minutes ago was advertising that Dylan Harper is playing tonight for the Spurs against the 76ers in the Las Vegas Summer League. People are going to be disappointed because according to, was it Norm McDonald?
Jeff McDonald.
Jeff McDonald. Right? Norm McDonald's a comedian.
Yeah.
Jeff McDonald and Don Harris of News 4 San Antonio. Dylan Harper's not playing tonight, Joe.
He's not. And Jeff McDonald of the Express News said Dylan Harper will miss tomorrow's Las Vegas opener while he returns to play from the minor groin injury. He's expected to make his summer league debut on Saturday. And you got to think about this. Why is that, Mike? Is it because on Saturday we're going to have the number 1 overall pick and Cooper Flagg go against the number 2 overall pick and Dylan Harper? Come on, Mike.
That is fascinating. ESPN reporting right now that it is costing $213 to get into tonight's game between the Lakers and Mavericks, because you're going to have Cooper Flagg going up against Bronny James. It's a big deal, man. Cooper Flagg is a big deal. They're going to see Cooper, all right? As much as we're excited about Dylan Harper and he's the consensus number 2 guy in this draft, people want to see Cooper Flagg play. And it's going to be pretty exciting to see Cooper Flagg go up against Dylan Harper. I know they don't play the same position or anything like that. But doesn't that bring up the intensity level? Doesn't that bring up the expectation level?
Doesn't that bring up the ratings? Doesn't that bring up the ratings?
It does. I mean,
and where's it going to be featured on, Mike? ESPN?
ESPN.
More ratings equals what? Make more money, baby, right?
And then we're going to have Garcia be the one that goes off for 30 points. Watch. just watch.
Harper's going to lay a dud. He's only going to have 3 and then, 6-8 minutes of play? Sit him down.
So we'll talk about this. We'll talk about Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks and what they have going on. We'll get into some pop culture as well down the road. Joe, 10 minutes ago, man, I was dead asleep. I could have missed this podcast. If it wasn't for a phone call that I got from work at 9:55, I would have missed today's show because I looked down. It's one of those moments where you're asleep and you pick up your phone. And you think in your head, you guess in your head, it's probably 7:37, 7:38 right now. And I look and it's 9:55. And I tell you why it happened, Joe. Chica and I last night were in the garage. and her son moved out, right? So Chica is now officially an empty nester. Well, kind of, sort of, because my daughter's here right now, but her kids are now fully gone, right? They're in their master's program, and her son decided to move to downtown Houston. So we cleared out a lot of his stuff in the garage, which opens up the gym that's in there. So we have a weight set in there, bench press, and all that stuff. So Chica and I last night, around 11:30 last night, decided to go inside there and started doing a workout. We did a full-on workout. I was doing bench press and military press and curls and a lot of dumbbell work, kettlebell, all that stuff. And it was so stinking hot in that garage that by the time we got out, dude, I was just drained, man. I was just drained. Took a shower, got into bed, watched some TV, and I just think it just drained me, Joe. I hadn't had a good workout like that in a while because of my knee, but man, getting out there and lifting after for the first time in a long time it's a bit much, man. But I'm excited, dude. I feel energized now that I'm awake. But Joe, I almost missed today's show.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't turn that into like a sex dungeon or something else. Put the swing on the ceiling,
Hey.
There you go. You'd get a much better workout doing that, Mike. Let's be honest.
That's a more fun workout, but
be more fun.
But Joe, how's the workout going for you guys? I mean, I know that you were doing some things recently. I know that you like hitting the bag and that you like doing more kicking ass type workouts than me. Because yesterday I was doing the bench press. Hadn't done the bench press in forever, Joe. I mean, I didn't want to kill myself, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by saying how much I put up there, right? But there was at least a plate up there, right? But it's just difficult to get back into it. But I'm excited now that I have that space in the garage to do what I want to do, man.
Look at Jonathan C. He says he's currently on a roof doing a job, lifting 50 pounds of shingles, climbing the ladder is not for the weak. It is not. I don't understand how these guys can be up there and doing all this stuff, dude. It's hot on those roofs, man. It's
dude, not only the energy, the stamina, but the balance that they have to stay on the damn thing, man.
Yeah, man.
The trust they have in their body when it comes to it all, because it's funny, you get on the roof, they're not all flat, man. They're not all flat.
Not by a long shot, man. Oh, and you have that one teaser that was coming out that we kind of showed yesterday, and that was because you're going to be on the Pleat the Sith show with Elias there. Right. And we're going back and forth, and it's funny because we're giving tips on questions that should be asked. So it's going to be from what we're doing, just kind of playing around with things. It's going to be a fun show for you. I'm excited.
Okay, yeah.
For you,
that's Sid. The thing. I'm on his territory, man.
Yeah.
So whatever he wants to ask, he gets to ask because it's his damn show. I know what I'm getting into. Okay, I know what I'm getting into. Tony Ornalis on our YouTube stream, which again is powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera, says, "Can we have a shirt of Chica wearing an Aztec warrior goddess outfit with a knife saying, 'I will cut you'?" No, her phrase is, "I will scalp your ass."
Jeez.
Dude, don't make me scalp you. I'll scalp your ass, or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of funny.
Look, Alex Torres says Mike was bench pressing the 1099s and W2s.
My 1099 weighs a lot more than my W2. That's for show. That is for show. Jonathan C. said he still has us on, never missing a show, even though he's lifting 50 pounds of shingles and climbing a ladder. He's not missing a show. That is badass, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? For those of you who are big supporters of our show, hit the like button early, man. The like button's on the bottom left. Hit the like button. That helps us out when it comes to promotion and things like that. PF Chang's and the Area 210 podcast, we are teaming up in a couple of weeks or so. We'll finalize the date next week. It'll be towards the end of the month. A date to have a charity drive at the La Cantera location to support the Kerr County flood victims and all the surrounding areas out there. It's called Dine to Donate. And what that basically means is that a percentage of the sales of that day go to the flood victims. All you got to do is tell them that Area 210 brought you there. And I'm going to camp out there. I'm just going to camp out and go, psst. Just say Area 210 brought you here. Yeah. Either way, I don't care if we raise $300, $500, or $1,000. We got to do our part, which is fantastic. And it's an opportunity for us to interact and things like that, and check out the patio area, check out the bar area, go meet Sean Quintero, who's one of the big wigs over there. over at the PF Chang Slot and Terra. Big supporter of our show. He's the one that helped us get Goldberg, Joe. Think about that. Sean Quintero of PF Chang's La Cantera had Goldberg at his restaurant, and he goes up to him and says, "Hey, I have a podcast that we support that our friend is out there doing. Would you be on the show?" And Goldberg said yes. That's how we had Goldberg last year.
How about that?
PF Chang's La Cantera has been OG with us since the beginning as well. Now they're one of our sponsors, which is badass. We should be bringing on a second sponsor the next couple of weeks or so. And thank you to all the original sponsors that we had. MCS General Contracting, Locked On Spurs, and things like that. We'll get you back in the fold, man. It is what it is. We'll get you back in the fold.
You know what? Got to give a big shout out to our boy Spernandez out there, because Spernandez, aka Rick Fernandez, he's also helped bring some really highly sought after interviews dealing with boxers here, local boxers here in San Antonio. Jesse James Leha, for one. And then we just had another boxer on the show a couple weeks ago too. Great. We're looking to having more boxers and having more interviews, kind of a sit down. We need to bring back, I think, Frank Harris. You know who I'm going after right now?
Who's that?
Somebody from my old neighborhood, dude. Grew up in the neighborhood I did. I want to go back and get a special guest. I'm not going to say who it is quite yet. I'm going to kind of keep that a little hush hush, but I'm working on something. Former Spur, by the way, too.
Very nice. I'm excited about that, man. A former Spur would always be great. Even their children. We had Mike Mitchell Jr. on a while back, and he did a fantastic job. I'm looking right now at ESPN's banner that says that Devin Booker signed a historic deal. It has me thinking about what we're going to sign Wemby for next year, in October of next year, when he gets eligible for an extension. Because Devin Booker, who, come on, man, what is Devin Booker ranked as far as the best players in the NBA? He is an all-star, a perennial all-star. He can shoot. But if I was to rank players in the NBA, I'd have Devin Booker somewhere between 15 and 20, Joe. Maybe I'm being a hater when it comes to it all.
No, 15, I don't think
15
you
to
are.
20, because he ain't Giannis. He's not Jokic. He's not Wemby. He's not. I could name 15 players before I get to Devin Booker when I think to myself, yeah, man, that guy good. He signed a 2-year extension for $145 million, $72.5 million per year. Joe, Spurs fans, Spurs residents, San Antonio residents are going to freak out when Wemby's price tag is going to be $80 million.
It's going to be way up there, man. I mean, he's going to wind up getting what, a max contract, you think?
Dude, it might be, 4 years, 300, 4 years, 320.
Yeah.
Be ready for it. It's going to happen. And then we're going to have all of these fans out there who are going to be asking Wemby to do a hometown discount. I know our good friend, she goes by Zed's Dad on Twitter, was posing that question because she was making fun of some of these moves being made, because you see Oklahoma City, who signed Chet Holmgren to a 4-year, $200 million extension. Chet Holmgren, who's not even half the player that Wemby is, getting $50 million per year. And she asked the question on Twitter last night, how are these teams doing this where they're going to have 3-star players out there and then have nothing to fill but just scrubs the rest of the way? Because if you're paying Jalen Williams $50 million, if you're paying Chet Holmgren $50 million, and you're paying SGA the same area, what's going to happen to the rest of the team? You're going into the first and second apron. You're paying a luxury tax at that point to keep your own players.
You know what happens?
What happens then?
You get players like Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not a knock on them. It's just saying you go and you get role players, know, but at the end of the day, the quality of role player that you can get, because there's only so much money to go around, it's not going to be of a higher quality, right? You're going to have to settle for whatever's out there. Case in point, what did the Spurs do just the other day, just yesterday? They went ahead and signed Jordan McLaughlin. He agreed to a 1-year, $3 million deal to return to the Spurs as a guard. So the Spurs have now what? Fox, Harper, and now they have McLaughlin. I mean, there you go. It's like he's going to be the third option, no doubt. They have an injury or they just want to go ahead and rest, one of their players, they can do so and give him run. But at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to, Mike. If you're going to pay your star players that much money, they're going to command that much money, a big chunk of the salary.
Right.
For teams, what are the teams going to do? Move into the second apron? They don't really want to do that. But at the end of the day, like you said, there's not enough money. You got to go get role players. But the role players you're going to get, they might not be the role players you want.
And that's exactly it. Chris Gonzalez brings up a really good point on our YouTube stream, our chat line powered by PF Chang, Slocantera. Who's going to pick up Booker's contract if Phoenix wants to trade him? No one can.
Nobody.
No one can. And I was talking to my dad about this the other day, because he hears stories about potential trades for Kevin Durant or Giannis or this and that. And it throws him off a little bit when he says, what do you mean you're going to trade 3 or 4 solid players, whether they be Keldon, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, and several picks for a Giannis? And he can't wrap his head around that, because he's like, that's 8 or 9 players for one. And I keep telling him that's just the way the NBA is, because it's not like the NFL, right? The best quarterback in the NFL last year was not Patrick Mahomes. It was not Josh Allen. Analytically, stats-wise, the best quarterback in all of football last year was Joe Burrow. And Burrow didn't even make the playoffs, right? Because he is just one of 22 players on the field at a given time, right? In the NBA, you can have 5 guys play 36 to 40 minutes per game and have a weak bench, but because you have star talent around that starting 5, it lasts longer, Joe. It's just one of those things where you look at this team and you can have 3 studs and then just scrubs the rest of the way. That's what kind of wins. And Indiana's an anomaly, right? Indiana making the finals, a bit of an anomaly when it comes to it, because they got through depth, right? They had an all-star in Tyrese Halliburton. They had some pretty decent players in Pascal Siakam, and they filled out the rest of the roster. Miles Turner, who was a former all-star, no longer there, but they had a team. They decided to go at it as a team, a collective of one all-star with 11 really good players, 11 good role players, and that somehow made its way to the NBA Finals. Whereas in recent history, it's been your big 3. Even if the Spurs had Tim, Tony, and Manu, it was about filling in the gaps behind it and having a young guy like Kawhi Leonard come out of nowhere, right? People on rookie deals. You had Golden State with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and you had Bosh and Wade and LeBron. It has been a big 3 system to get to it. And the Spurs are going to fall into that trap as well, because we're going to have Wemby, Castle, and Harper be our big 3. The odd man out might actually be De'Aaron Fox over time. So, Joe, I mean, what do you want the Spurs to do when it comes to it all? Do you think the Spurs should go by trying to go far by depth, or do you think it needs to be superstar, and then fill in the rest of the roster?
This is what I think the Spurs need to do. It's kind of a harken back to the days of old. You're going to have your 2 players, right? Your 2 solid players, your corner pieces. Then after that, you need to go ahead and get a surrounding cast. So you need to have balance. And case in point, what did the Indiana Pacers show you? That if you have a balanced team that plays well together and they stay healthy, you can get all the way to the NBA Finals.
Right.
I think the Spurs need to adopt that type of a model or that type of a mindset and just be like, you know what? We have 2 guys that we really need out there that are going to have a dramatic impact in the game, and then surround them with a decent cast of characters. You need to have a balanced team in order to go far. You need to have balance on both your starting 5 and your bench.
The problem that you have, though, Joe, and I agree with you when it comes to all that, the problem that you have, though, is that one injury just guts your season.
It does, but I mean, that's the price you pay. But aren't injuries part of the regular season? Right now, Mike, let's be honest. Who's hurt all the time in the starting lineup for the Spurs that you had? What? Wemby was injured. Okay, I understand that.
Sohan misses a lot of time as well.
Sohan, Vassell, Fox was injured too. He had to go ahead and have off season, not off season, but have surgery, so he could come back and start the regular season with the San Antonio Spurs here. But injuries are part of the game. You can't dictate which one of your players is going to get injured. It could be a star player, it could be a role player. You don't know, but injuries also impact the overall record of a team. But it's something that all teams have to go ahead and account for and play through.
Now, Chris Gonzalez brings up a really good point on our chat powered by PF Chang's La Cantera. He says the day of the dynasty are gone.
Yeah.
And, we've had 7 different champions in 7 different years in the NBA. There have been no back-to-backs. There have been no repeats. We've had 7 different teams win the NBA championship in the last 7 years. And people think that the dynasty is gone. What you need to do in order to have a dynasty these days is have your star player, have a sidekick, have your Batman, have your Robin, and then have just youth come in, very good drafting coming in. And that's why Oklahoma City has a really good chance of having a dynasty, is because not only do they have their star players in lock and in place, but the guys that they have on rookie deals are really good. They're drafting exceptionally well. As much as we make fun of Brian Wright for what he's done, have you looked and see how Oklahoma City drafts?
Yeah, no, I've seen how they draft. I mean,
when it comes to the Spurs, we look at it and go, "Oh, Luka Samanic, man. Oh, Blake Wesley."
Lonnie Walker.
You look at their history, and you think to yourself, "Man, we have gotten some bad picks along the way." And the only ones that Brian Wright has hit is what? The obvious ones. When you win the 2023 NBA draft, of course you select Wemby. I would have chosen Wemby. That doesn't make me a better GM than he does. It just means it's an obvious choice.
Ray Charles would have chosen Wemby.
Yeah. Stevie Wonder would have chosen Wemby. Meantime,
got the number 1 pick. Boom, there.
Meantime, you have you get Stephon Castle at 4. That was the obvious choice. He was the best player on the board. You had Dylan Harper at 2. Of course, every other team would have picked Dylan Harper at 2. But I'm looking at who they drafted, the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Let's go back a few years. They had Thomas Sorbet this year, the Georgetown center. They got him at 15. People ask me the question, Jimenez, who's the one player that you think is going to be the one that we look at when we look at, we should have drafted Carter Bryant at 14. We should have gotten this player. They said, put your name on it, dude. They don't want me to have quote unquote hindsight's 2020 revisionist history, all that crap that they give me. Even though I said the Spurs should have drafted Şengün over
Sohan.
Primo, right?
Oh yeah, Primo,
over Primo.
Yeah.
And even though I was excited about certain players, they want me to call it out early, like day 1, right? Thomas Sorbet, Georgetown center. That's one, because we needed a center, right? And then I will also say Asa Newell, who went to Atlanta. We've talked about them for the longest time. Those are going to be 2 really good players out there. So keep an eye on that. But look at back in time. Last year, who did Oklahoma City sign? Drafted 12. Well, first of all, they were drafted at 12, even though they're really good because they get all these trades, right?
Yeah.
They drafted Nikola Topic, the point guard who got hurt right before the draft and missed the entire season last year. He was supposed to be a top 5, top 6 guy in the draft. But gets hurt, misses the whole year. Guess what Oklahoma City does? Gets him. Guess who's balling out right now in the leagues, the summer leagues? Nikola Topic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who did they get the year before that? Well, they traded Derek Lively, who was a good player for the Mavericks. 2022, they got Chet Holmgren, they got Jalen Williams, and then they got the other Jalen Williams. All 3 on the team. 2 of them, Jalen Williams, who was drafted number 12, is an all-star. Chet Holmgren will be a future all-star. Made first-team All-NBA rookie. Who did they get the year before that? Josh Giddey and Trey Mann. They ended up trading Giddey. You keep on going back. It's just hit after hit after hit after hit. Even the ones that they traded were hits. It's just weird. Sam Salinas comes out on our chat powered by PF Chang's La Cantera saying, I think we're seeing the beginning of an OKC dynasty. I think the Spurs are on a delicate stage where the makings of the dynasty are there. Dueling dynasties that aren't big markets. Sign me up, he says.
And that's the thing, too. Look at the 2022 draft. What happened with the picks that the Spurs selected? What are their names, Mike? Gone.
2 of the 3 are gone. and one might. The rest, Sohan might be gone as well. Yeah, they also drafted Peyton Watson, number 30 in the draft in 2022. But Watson was then traded to the Denver Nuggets. So it didn't happen. But they got Jalen Williams at 34, one of the top picks in the second round. And he's still around. They still play him. It's an interesting scenario that's going on when it comes to the Spurs and when it comes to the creation of this team. As I mentioned yesterday, by the way, Wesley did a fantastic job with us yesterday. You look at the Spurs and Brian Wright and what this team is evolving into. It looks more and more like the grip, the hold that Greg Popovich had is going away. But you know what's going to happen, Joe? Oh, I can feel it right now. It's going to piss me off, Joe. Mitch Johnson's going to have a decent year this year. The Spurs are going to have a good year. And everyone's going to say, well, it's because of Pop. It's because of Pop's influence there at the Rocket Lock and Terra.
What did Matt Lerma say? He said, Pop is still going to be involved with the Spurs. And
does not mean in control.
Exactly. And you know what? Like I tell everybody, go back and look at that interview that French reporter had with R.C. Buford. R.C. Buford said a lot without having to say a lot. He was like, we don't really know basically where Pop is going to fit in his new role. They don't know if he's going to be there full time. Is he going to be in part time? He's going to show up when he wants. He's going to be involved, but his health is going to take precedence over everything. Is kind of what he was saying. So yes, he will be involved with the organization, but I don't think it's going to be to the extent that Spurs fans think.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have an influence, a small one, but it's not going to be as big of an impact.
Yeah, Tavares says Mitch Johnson will be the X factor. And I believe that to be. And you know what's so funny is that there are so many people around him that are so supportive, even former Spurs players like DeJounte Murray. Chris Paul has said nice things about him. And I know we always say that that's public relations and whatnot, but the number of times that they do it makes it seem like it's a reality.
Yeah.
Right? Makes it seem like they had his back when it comes to it all. And that's part of it all, is that you have a player you have a coach who played college ball, who's relatively the same age as a lot of these players. Chris Paul is older, right, than Mitch Johnson, older than the coach that he had last year. But there's something to be said about that dynamic, because I hated the fact that Pop, when he first became the Spurs head coach, was in his 40s, early 50s, and then exits in his mid to late 70s. You don't identify with that anymore, Joe. You can't identify at any level. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how many bottles of wine you have or how good of a person you are. When it comes to identifying with somebody over the long haul, it goes away. It's a generational thing.
And
already here catching strays, he says.
Matt Lerma, because
I
mentioned him.
Huh?
I mentioned him, right, and saying about, Pop is going to be involved. You're going to see, they want me to do the Matt Lerma voice.
I'm still with you, Sohan.
I'm still with you. Me and Matt Lerma's voice is like, no, they're going to still be here, Coach, with Coach Pop, and Coach Pop is going to be so involved with the organization. No, he's not. R.C. Buford said as much, and that's what everybody wanted me to do. They wanted me to do the Matt Lerma voice. There you go. I did it for you.
Well, I mean, there's only so much Pop can do, because physically he's unable to. Physically he's unable to do what he needs to do to be an everyday player in the organization. And also because of the fact that he's 8 years old. At some point you move on. He should have moved on a long time ago, Joe. Hey, Joe, show how people can be part of our show. How they can connect with us through links and through videos and whatnot.
Yeah, they want to go.
How do we make that happen?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do something we call media share here. It's unique to our show. We're one of the few that's doing this right now, especially here in San Antonio. So if you want to go ahead and share any videos, pictures, links, anything like that, go ahead and text us at 830-391-9164, and we'll go ahead and show your, anything that you want to share, again, as far as links, videos, pictures, anything like that. We'll show it in the context of the show.
And this is a good day to do it, Joe, because it's kind of like today is like a variety hour of things that we could talk about.
Yeah, a lot of things that we can talk about, but everybody likes that Matt Lerma voice. They just love it. One more
so
time,
with you,
Joe.
man. One more
Look at
time. How's it go?
I'm Matt Lerman. I love the Spurs. Leave Sohan alone. You know. Yeah, that's a funny thing, man. Is this guy Matt? Man, Matt's funny, dude. He's like, oh, I'm not a Sohan supporter. I'm not a Sohan stan. You know.
Oh, yes, you are.
I'm like, bro, stop it. Stop it. And look at they said Joe makes Matt sound like he's pushing out something on the toilet.
Now, Bobby February, new name to the mix here. Thank you. He has a chat over here on the he has a comment on the chat powered by PF Chang's La Cantera saying, I really wish Becky or Ime Udoka had been our head coach. Of the two, don't get me wrong, I would have liked either one. Ime Udoka seems to have his head on straight for NBA ball. We'll never know what Becky Hammon would have been as an NBA coach because she probably never will be an NBA coach. And that's a sad fact. She had her opportunity. You know, it's funny because Pop gave her the opportunity to become an assistant coach, and it elevated her to the point where she could become the president and head coach and whatnot over at the Las Vegas Aces. And she's had great success over there. But as much as Pop uplifted her, also prevented her from getting a head coaching job with the Spurs because Pop wouldn't leave. Pop was going to be the guy who, if healthy enough, you would have had to have kicked his ass out.
He was a stray dog that wouldn't leave your house.
I remember when my former father-in-law retired from the Army. He did 30 years in the Army, right? They had to pry the uniform off of him.
Jeez, bro. Because
he did not want to go. And my old father-in-law, may RIP, very good man, served our country for 30 years, was literally depressed for a good year or two after being told that he could no longer be in the Army because 30 years is the maximum number of time unless you're at the Pentagon, right? Pop was the same way. Pop was somebody who you had to tell him to leave, exit stage right. He wasn't going to leave. He wasn't going to leave. This whole idea of, well, he was going to lay the foundation for Wemby, that was all crap. He was never going to leave. He never was. He wanted to play till he was coach until he's 80. Now we have in the NFL, Joe, Pete Carroll, who at the end of this season will become the oldest NFL coach in NFL history. I believe Pete Carroll's 73. But, dude, Pete Carroll looks like he's 53. Pete Carroll looks like he's 43. There's a big difference between the two, Joe. And as much crap as I give Pop, I have a hard time giving that to Pete Carroll because Pete Carroll, if you watch him, he runs up and down the sidelines. That's a weird guy, man. Pete Carroll does not look his age.
He doesn't, man. But he's old, man. He's old as F, bro. Come on.
He is.
You know what? At some point, don't they have to have a stipulation, right, in professional sports where you're like, if you're of a certain age, you got to get pushed out the door, man. Even though you can still maybe coach, it's time, bro. Like, they need to go ahead and make that a law, man. Like, you know what? You could do something else. Why don't you get behind the screen there, behind the camera, right?
Right.
And just give commentary or something, you know? You still have insight, you know?
I worked for a company called Mass Mutual back in the day. I worked with them from 2012 to 2017. We all knew that the owner of our firm was going to retire at 66 because the company had a rule that nobody could own an agency past that age. And they still have that rule, Joe.
God.
They basically said you were not as effective anymore, not as relatable anymore once you hit a certain age.
You're not down with the kids no more, man.
Well, it's kind of hard to recruit somebody who's coming out of college at Baylor University at age 23 to come over and teach them finance when the guy teaching them is 80 years old.
Oh, man. You know, everybody's coming at you for making fun of Pop. And Mario Cavazos, he asked a question in here, and I'll go ahead and answer it. He says, what is the name of the head coach of OKC? Does anyone know his name? Mark Daigneault.
Daigneault, yeah.
Yeah. That's
he doesn't put himself out there, man. He really doesn't. He's one of the best coaches in the entire NBA. You don't know who he is because he doesn't take political stances. He doesn't grab the mic from somebody saying don't boo Kawhi.
Don't boo Kawhi in my Matt Lerma voice.
That should have been the moment, Joe, that R.C. Buford got one of those old time canes like they had at talent shows back in the day, and should have just dragged him off the court and said, "You're done."
You know what?
That was the moment, Joe, that I think that Spurs fans actually turned on Pop a little bit and were like, maybe he should have to go.
That's the point in time where he deserved the chancla.
Well, it's kind of like dogs. All dogs get mean when they hit a certain age. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
even the nicest dog, after a while, becomes a little. After a certain age, Pop turned into the old man shouting at the cloud, and it's sad because he should have walked off the court in 2014. He would have been considered the GOAT had he done that. But he stuck around, had 6 losing seasons in a row to end his career. Or should we say 5? Because they gave number 6 to Mitch Johnson. So they're doing him a favor.
Look at this. Somebody said this via media share, and they like Mike trying to recruit young people at his job, and it said,
"How do we do, fellow kids?" I am a recruiter for financial people, dude. I recruit people in finance.
Oh man,
I used to recruit young'uns, but I was in my 30s when I did that, and I had about 3 people who became very, 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 very successful in the industry, who make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year, that I recruited, that I developed, that I mentored, and they do a very, very good job. Right now, when I recruit people in their 40s, baby. I ain't in the business of recruiting somebody in their 20s anymore. It's difficult to do so, man, because the work ethic has changed, and Joe Chica and I were talking about this the other day. Tell me if you agree with this or not. I hate the fact that I'm saying this because I remember back in the day hearing people say this and thinking, man, you just got old, baby. You just got old. But the idea of time has changed for a lot of kids, man. Like they're treated differently, and it's our fault as parents, man. Did you get the chancla back in the day, Joe? Did you ever get the beat down?
I told you I used to get beat down all the time. I wasn't like I was a bad kid, but I was out there destroying shit, man. They would buy me toys or what have you, right? And they stopped doing that at some point in time. Especially when I was little, when I was very young, because they would buy me a car, right? They bought me a toy car or whatever. They just got it. They just gave it to me. And I took that son of a bitch apart because I wanted to know how it worked. And then I put it back together. And my mom said it was so bad that they had to go buy me toys that had like clear parts to them so I could see how the insides of the damn thing worked. But I was always taking stuff apart, and like they thought I was breaking it, but I was trying to make it better. So it's like, just let me work, but here comes the chancla because I did something else, or I would take stuff apart, and my mom would get mad at me, or I would make a mess. My mom would get mad at me. Like I said, I was almost burning the house down or putting a piece of aluminum through 2 walls and stuff. And they'll be like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
So that's why I would get the chancla.
My dad, the legend is, and I say the legend because this is my sisters. So I have 4 sisters, but they're all 10 to 15 years older than me, right? They were afraid of what was called the white belt.
Oh, God.
We would get laid hands on by just a simple spank or a slap. That was my end. I didn't get a stick. I got the belt every once in a while. But kids today, man, you as a parent can sometimes get in trouble, right? If that happens. But I like looking at Chica's kids, man. Both of them have their master's in their master's degree programs. One's going to be a PA. One's in a Ivy League program right now. And she goes, man, I used to, crack the whip, baby. I treated them the way that I was treated, discipline. And
she would tell him, I can feel it in my hand. You just wait till we get to the car.
and I bring this up because I talk to people who are in their 20s and 30s, and they're like, I need to make this much money. I'm like, okay, well, here's what you need to do. No, but I need to have that guaranteed. And I will tell them, if you're trying to go into business for yourself, there is no guarantee. You know what my salary is, Joe? Zero. My salary is 0. I eat what I kill. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I have revenue that is generated and stuff like that. And I have a bow wave where if I decide I don't want to work today, I still make money because I've been
You're
in the
giving
industry
yourself
for
your
so
own
long.
damn commercial right now.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just show your number. We might as well.
Yeah. 210-508-0369. I now supervise $22 million worth of investments. 210-508-0369. I went back. I was in management for so long in finance, went back into business during COVID, and now I'm proud to have $22 million of assets. People were coming to me for retirement, and they're like, what do I do? Some with as little as $5,000, some with as much as $2 million with me, but you put it all together, it's a big $22 million pot of money that I manage on a daily basis. 210-508-0369, 210-508-0369. And I know that I'm going to get that number to 50 million in the next 2 years.
There you go.
And we are chat is powered by PF Chang's at La Cantera. That's the La Cantera location, which is by the Nordstroms. Sean Quintero, go ask for Sean. Tell him that you're part of the 210 podcast. We're going to have a charity event for the flood victims in the next few weeks. We're going to iron out the details in the next week or so. It's called Vine and Donate. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Kerrville area flood victims. PF Chang's La Cantera. Joe, I can't wait to go eat over there, Joe. I'm a
good
kind of guy. Chica's a Kung Pao chicken kind of gal. Ava is an egg roll girl, dude. Egg roll, dude. There's nothing better than egg drop soup, Joe. Egg drop soup is elite.
No, man. The one egg drop soup that is elite to me that I like is the walk-in to over here by Petrenko. But egg drop soup is elite with the little crunchy noodles.
Noodles.
And I like the one at PF Chang's.
Yeah, how do you ask for that, man? You know, it's like, I'll take the crispy noodles. I don't know how to ask for it, right?
Just
but they know
like
what you're
this.
talking about.
I want the little noodles, you know, you go like that to your hands.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, okay, I got you, you know. But we have a super chat we got to get to, man. Thank you so much, Mario Cavazos. I appreciate you.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
And Mario says, Sam said, go Spurs, go, has to go. Do you agree? They're talking about the slogan.
Why? Go Spurs, go, dude. That's just... We can replace it with Spurs in 5.
Oh,
with
God.
our Shay Spurs in 5. We can do that instead. Remember back in the day, the baseline bums? They were like so low on they were so lower level at the Hemisphere Arena back in the day, and they were so prominent even at the Alamo Dome, and now they're like up in the rafters. Where you can't, they're up there with the peasants. Whatever happened to them, Joe? That's so sad.
They're still there. They have them up there but they're higher up now, you know,
Jonathan
and they still do stuff.
Jonathan C says, hot and sour soup has entered the chat. What's the other one? The Japanese place, miso soup. That one I can't get into, Joe.
That one's all right. Oh, God. Mario Cavazos. Yeah, look at what we have here. Bobby February says, me and my girlfriend are watching. She's laughing with all the chancla talk. Appreciate you all. Yeah, getting a putazo when you're a little kid, man. They hit you with any damn thing they could find near them, man. You'd get a chingazo with a chancla. You'd get hit with anything, an extension cord, a switch, whatever was around, man. I remember my grandma was the one that was the enforcer in the family, because I had some bad cousins, man. There were a lot of us there, and there were a lot of boys. And I feel sorry for grandma, man. She had to break out the switch sometimes and light their ass up, man. Especially my cousin John. He would get it the worst.
Did you ever get embarrassed by a parent where, you know, you're on the phone and they pick up the other line and you're talking to the girl, you're trying to talk to a girl, and they're like, hey, it's time to take a bath. it's time for dinner. Get off the phone or whatever. And you get so embarrassed. Kids will never know what that's like, because I can't pick up my phone and like patch into their cell phone. They'll never get that, man. That's crazy.
You know what? That Spurs go Spurs go slogan has been around even before they went on their championship run, right? They started to go ahead and say, go Spurs, go. I'd say around 97, 98, somewhere around there. And then it became more prevalent when the Spurs were on that historic run, right? You know, that would lead them ultimately to get their first championship. That's when it was like, Go Spurs Go was all over the city. It was a new thing. It's been around for a while, man. It's like, I'm not saying they need to retire it, but maybe they need to kind of, make it a little bit more modern. Like have an alternate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's.
Oh, look, they said it was 99. No, it was before 99. I remember seeing it somewhere before 99. I think it was like in 98, somewhere around there where they were saying Go Spurs Go, but it wasn't as popular as it was in 99. That's why everybody remembers 99.
The phrase that would make me roll my eyes back in the day, maybe because it was too ethnic, was the race for Sace.
Oh, God.
Is that too ethnic, or was that just a bad one to begin with?
No, it was all right, but it was just overplayed because there'd be like the race for Sace, the race for Sace. And they just kept on saying it over and over and over. And we know who kept saying it that fucking killed the whole thing? Greg Simmons, bro. Like every day I would turn on KSAT 12. I'd be watching the news. Here comes the sports section. Race for Sace. I'm like, oh, bro, yeah, con eso, man. Stop it. He was just killing it, dude.
The one that I remember back in the day was Fast Breaking Fiesta when they had the Fiesta colors.
Remember the commercials? I remember especially the commercials. The goated commercial is the one with Sean Elliott when he was doing those commercials for what is it, Taco Cabana back in the day with the Fiesta colors. That was the goated commercial. That's when Taco Cabana was actually good. It ain't no good no more. It's awful. But that's the one that I remember. Sean Elliott with those Taco Cabana commercials.
I was telling Chica about that the other day because she doesn't, she is a Spurs fan, which is funny because she lives in the Houston adjacent area. But she is a Spurs fan. She's like, oh yeah, we used to go to Spurs games all the time because she grew up in Austin. So that's kind of her claim to being a Spurs fan is that. But she has no idea what the Taco Cabana commercials are. But when I was over here, I have Fubo TV, and it's hooked up to San Antonio address, right? So she sees HEB commercials involving the Spurs, and she thinks it's so cool. She's like, man, that's badass. That's amazing.
Yeah, we have to leave it up to the group right now. If y'all are listening, you're watching us. What would be a new catchphrase for the future now, moving forward? Now that you don't have Tony, you don't have Manu, you don't have Timmy, you don't have any ties now to the Spurs of old. Even Coach Pop, for all intents and purposes, is no longer the head coach, but he's going to still be involved with the organization. Moving away, what would you all come up with if you had to come up with a new slogan to move away from Go Spurs Go?
Wouldn't it have to be something alien-oriented?
I don't know. I mean, it have to be something that has the flavor, man, of San Anto,
Right. Joe, give me that media share phone number again.
Yeah, I'll put it up here. Give me a sec. There it is. There it is. Text 830.
I'm going to send you something right now, Joe.
830-391-9164. I'll leave it on the screen for you.
391-9164, right?
9164.
Okay, just sent you something, Joe. See if you can check it out.
It's coming here. Alien invasion. I know they said that. Puro pinche Spurs. They won't let nobody do that, man.
Okay, give me that number again. 210-391.
Yeah, the number was, I'll put it on the screen for you.
830-391.
830-391-9164. You're over here texting stuff to the wrong number.
I'm saving it on my phone for everybody, but if you can click on that, Joe, there's an old-timey photo that I sent you.
Jeez. Let me see if I can. It doesn't let me move the pictures forward, but we'll show them one at a time. It's fine.
Okay. Sounds good. I just want to say a happy anniversary to my folks.
There you go.
That was their wedding day 65 years ago. Demetrio and Celia Jimenez. July 10th, 1960 is when they got married. Woo. Today they're celebrating their 65th anniversary. This was a photo that we took of them. We went to Laughlin, Nevada about 3 weeks ago. It was me, my dad, my mom, Chica, and my sister Cindy. We went out there for a few days, which is amazing. And that's a photo of me and my dad. My dad holding me as a baby.
Y todavía estabas feo. No, just
Look at my dad's lamb, dude.
damn.
Lamb chops, dude.
You should let him grow out like that, Mike.
There's some great photos here, Joe. I mean, I'm looking at what my sister is sending me right now. I'm going to send you a couple more. There was another one that I sent you a little while ago. Let me get back to that real fast so I can send this to you.
I do like this phrase a lot. Bobby February, he gets the little prize right there, the gold star. That needs to be on the shirt, bro. I'm going to wear this
Win or
at a
chancla.
game. Win
like
or
that.
chancla, bro. That's it.
I like that. Tex-Mex Frank says, congratulations to your folks, Mike. Dude, 65 years. That's a lot of time, dude.
Time.
I sent you a couple other photos if you can show them because there's some old-timey photos in there. I like looking at photos of this because my family, my parents, they went to California and they lived out there for a while. They moved back to San Antonio back in the 70s. That's me and my dad at a Spurs game. That Spurs game, Joe, was at the Toyota Center in Houston. That's when Sohan went off and got into that dust-up with Dylan Brooks. And me and my dad were in the fifth row. And these old-timey pics, dude, are great. The one before that one is pretty cool. With the car and whatnot. Old-time car. My dad and my mom, dude. Kicking it since 1960.
That's giving blood in, blood out vibes right there, bro.
Oh, I know, man. My dad had to get a signature from his mom to get married because he wasn't 18 yet.
Damn.
My dad was, I think, 17. My mom was 18 when they got married, man.
Look at this. Oh, God, man.
So
our viewer, look at this. We got to show this, man, real quick.
Yeah,
it's one of our viewers. He wasn't lying, bro. He's up on the roof.
Yeah, is that Jonathan C?
Jonathan C. He's saying, dude, I'm putting in work.
Yeah,
he really is, dude. Good on him.
Everyone liking the car that my dad was leaning up against. That's badass, man.
Yeah.
Can we get a grito for my parents, dude? Can we get a grito?
Yeah.
The one with the dog at the end.
Oh yeah.
Can we get that? And this is not only in honor of my parents, but also Wesley Perkins, who yesterday had a hell of a grito.
Oh yeah, he did. We got to go ahead and get the clip of that, and I got to share it, man. Clip it. Yeah. Here we go.
¡Viva México, cabrones!
That's for my parents, man. Happy 65th anniversary to Celia and Demetrio Jimenez. Very, very, very nice.
I'm serious though, Mike. That's going to be the next one that we put in there. The slogan is "Win or chancla."
Now, Wesley, chancla. I did not realize is the band director over at Madison High School, right?
Yeah.
Now, he's in the chat right now. I want you to know I played high school band. Does he know? Because they say that if you are a band director, when you meet somebody who's a band geek or a fellow band geek, that you know what instrument they play just based on their personality. I want Wesley on our chat, who's powered by PF Chang's right now, PF Chang's La Cantera, to guess what instrument I played in high school.
The clarinet. Or the little triangle. That little triangle.
The little triangle, the percussion. That's kind of fun. Did you play an instrument, Joe, growing up?
No. I mean, I did and I didn't, because when I was younger, and I still can now, but I was like maybe 6 or 7 when my aunt started showing me how to play piano. And then my family was very like musically inclined. So what I would do as a kid, as I got a little older, we'd go to the comic book shop, right? And then right next to the comic book shop, right on the south side of town, was Flipside Records. So we'd go to Flipside Records, and my cousins, they were a lot older than me, right? So they would go in there and they would have me in there, and they would pick out a couple records or what have you. And then we'd go back home and they would jam out right in the backyard. Had drums and guitar and all the whole bit, you know? So then they would start showing me how to play. So I started learning how to play piano. I learned how to play guitar, and I could do the drums a bit too. I'm not going to say I was any good, but they showed me the basics of how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in high school band, marching band 3 years, my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. I played in middle school as well. I was a trumpet player.
Yeah.
which is kind of funny because even to this day, like Chica, I'll be holding on to Chica, and I'll be fiddling my fingers, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing my scales." That's the A scale.
They said in the picture your dad looked pissed. He says, "Damn, Mike, he crapped again." When you were little.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to show that photo of the car again, my sister just texted me what type of vehicle it was.
All right, we'll show the picture.
It's part of our media share, by the way, so you can be part of the show by sending us links and photos. Like I just texted a photo to Tim. That is a 1958 Buick. I mean, they don't make them the way they used to. If that plowed into a Toyota Corolla right now, it would cut the Corolla
paper,
in half.
bro. It'd be paper.
It would just blow right through. But so you're thinking blood in, blood out? I mean, that
blood
was
in,
in
blood
California.
Out. Blood in, blood out
California.
vibe. Yeah, dude, for sure. Blood in, blood out vibes. Look at your mom and dad when they were young there, man. That's like, I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah. They tell a story about how my dad got mad one time because some guy, I don't know, was trying to flirt with my mom one time, and then my dad got pissed off about it, and he came stomping. And Chica heard the story and was laughing because she was like, "Oh my God, that's you!" Because we went out one time, and I went to go karaoke. I don't know if I've told the story, Joe, but I went to go karaoke, and this guy tried rolling up on Chica while I was up on stage. Halfway through the song, I stopped singing and I got down off the stage, and Chica was like, "You came out like Donkey Kong. You jumped off the stage and just got me back." Not that she was flirting with him, but that some guy was like, "Oh, her guy is up on stage for 5 minutes. This is my opportunity," and I was not going to let it happen. And I literally halfway through the song went, "I'm done." And I jumped the stage and I went after it.
No, my favorite one was when you said you were done when we did the karaoke night, and we put on. You said, "Go tell him, Joe. Go put on Stone Temple Pilots. Tell him. All right." I go over there to the DJ. "Can you put on Stone Temple Pilots for my drunk friend?" "Sure, no problem." Mike gets up there on stage, and they start getting into the song, and Chica and everybody's clapping for Mike. I'm over there clapping for Mike. Come on, Mike. I can't, man. He walks off the stage.
I did not want that on video because earlier in the day, I remember that day I sang "Nobody Knows" by the Tony Rich Project. I did okay. I sang a Whitesnake song. Jeez, "Here I Go Again." And then I sang, I think, "Santa Monica" by Everclear. I think were the 3 songs that I sang that night. And then you wanted me to sing SCP, but then the alcohol hit. Dude, Chica, when she almost got into a fight unknowingly at that bar.
Oh my God.
So when we had our celebration for, what was it, for 2,000 YouTube subscribers, we went to the Hidden Tavern on West Avenue, which, by the way, great spot. It really is. But Chica almost got into a fight. Did I tell you the story, Joe?
Yeah, we know the story. You said it before. I mean, she almost got in an altercation.
Walking to a restroom. A lesbian girl got mad because her girlfriend was checking out Chica, and instead of getting mad at her own girl, got mad at Chica and went to the bathroom to confront her.
It was a weird night because then she comes after she does that, like 30 minutes or so pass, and the same girl comes back to the table where we're at to apologize to Chica, and then leaves again, and then gets mad at her again. So I'm like,
Chica's friend apparently had enough wisdom to see what was going on, ran into the restroom to make sure that Chica was okay. Chica oblivious to it all, because all Chica did was go from our table across the bar, across the whole area to the restroom to wash her hands. And some girls try to confront her in there. Chica's friend goes and stops it. And then that girl that got mad at Chica because her girlfriend was checking her out comes up to me and apologizes to me. And Chica's like, "Why isn't she apologizing to me? She's apologizing to you." And I'm like, "I don't know." And then she goes up and Chica goes, "I just got intimidated because you look so pretty today, and you look very blingy and very, very flashy, and you're all dressed up." And because Chica got all dressed up to a dive bar, that's what happened. July 26th says Chica's Miss Steal Your Girl.
It was good times. We got to get together and do that again, but this time we're going to do it over at the PF Chang's over at La Cantera with our good friend Sean. But another thing we're going to have to do here sometime in the summertime is we're going to have to go ahead and round up the troops. Like I said, I want to go visit the Mad Packer, man, because it just opened up again. We got to go out there, man, and support local business as well.
So we had at Mad Packer back in the day, maybe we can do this again. We did a fantasy football draft party over there where we had 3 different drafts going on simultaneously. We had about 40 people there. I know Mario Cavazos was out there with his wife, and I know Chris Leha was there. We had a lot of people out there to support Mad Packer. We got to go back and do that. They do a good job, man. It's got to be tough these days, man, because Mad Packer is a good place. The location, though, off of Tesla and Culebra, lends itself to being a neighborhood bar, but they're trying to be more than just a neighborhood bar.
Yep.
And it's almost as though you can't see it from Tesla, which is the main street. Because it's kind of tucked in to the corner of the shopping center, but it's like the shopping center is like an L, but the part of the L that's not seen is not seen from Tesla. They serve really good beer there. They have a good pizza line up there. Obviously, they do very good for wings and whatnot. But Mad Packer, it's off of Tesla, and I want to say it's
Culebra, basically. It turns into Tesla at some point.
Yeah, it's right there, dude. It's right there. It's called Mad Packer Brewery. Go check it out. It's if you know where the Las Palapas is, right there on Tesla and Culebra, just keep going down Tesla about another half mile, and you'll see it on the corner.
Look at that, Daniel Batista. We're talking about that little hidden tavern fiasco that we had, and he says that was a great night. That was a great night. God, that's when me and Pledger decided to keep on. We went back to the Root Pub because we put you and Chica in the car, and you all took off, right? And then Pledger looks at me. He goes,
car. You make it sound like we were belligerent, man. You put us in the car.
No, we were helping you all in the car.
What was it? This was in February. Is that what that was?
Something like that. And we helped you and Chica into the car. And then me and Pledger, and Pledger looks at me. He's like, "Want to go to the Root Pub?"
Oh yeah, I remember that night.
Yeah, I'm like, "Sure, let's go." And he goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, I'm a regular there. He goes, "We're gonna go back, to the VIP area or what have you." So I go out there with Pledger and meet all of Pledger's friends out there at the bar. Good people, Me and Pledger stayed out. We closed down the Root Pub. Then after that, he's like, "Let's go get something to eat." I'm like, "All right, cool, man." I said, "I got you, dude." So we went to Jim's, but we're like way on the other side of town. And by the time I noticed, and I look and I call my Uber, right? Because I'm not going to have Pledge drive me all the way on the other side of town. It's too far. So I was like, "All right, dude, I'll see you later." And I look at my watch, man. It was like almost like 4 something in the morning. I'm like, damn, we stayed out way too late. Good times though with Pledger.
I'm looking at the photos, Joe. This is when you say that you put us in the
We helped you in the car.
Give me that number 830. What is it? Good 391-9164.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, this was the end of the night. I didn't post this on social media.
830-391-9164.
Man, Chica was dressed up that night, man.
For a dive
Look at the photos. Now I know why that girl was checking her out, dude. I'm not going to show that photo though. She get mad if I show that photo.
You want me to show the photo that you sent me?
Yeah.
All right, we'll show that one. There you go.
This was the end of the night shenanigans before we got into the car to leave. Do I look faded? Do I look like somebody who said, "Nah, I ain't gonna play SDP"?
The eyes don't lie, Mike. The eyes don't lie.
Bedroom eyes.
Nah, that's like Mimi time. That's time to go to sleep. Eyes.
I think she and I both fell asleep in the Uber. And,
exactly.
We fell asleep in the Uber. We woke up. We were already home. I was like, "Oh, okay, time to go inside."
That the eyes right there show a lot of pain. Oh my God, dude, that was a good night. We got to do that again.
PTS TV says my wedding night. He says we got so trashed. My wife asked me, "I'm so embarrassed. Do you still want to marry me?" Hey, if you were trashed with her, man, it was match made in heaven.
Ooh, man.
You don't want to have one drunk person. You both want to be drunk, right?
Mario Cavazos. I would have gone if it wasn't rescheduled 5 times.
Oh, brutal.
Ooh, that was a good one. Burn.
So, Joe, Chica got mad at me yesterday for watching Rocky IV.
Why?
Okay, so I was watching it when she got home from work, and I got excited about it, and then I watched. Okay, so then I got excited by the movie because Rocky IV is Rocky IV. That's an all-time classic, right? And then it's no coincidence that I went and lifted weights immediately after, because it kind of makes you want to lift weights, right?
Yeah.
The music, the montages, and all that stuff, right?
Just go get a branch from outside. You could just be just like Rocky. You know that one
Yeah.
scene he's working out.
I was gonna tell Chica, get in the wheelbarrow. I'm gonna lift it up. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Hearts on fire.
Or was it cutting the wood? Remember, he's chopping the wood. Oh, and that helped him beat somebody that was all juiced up. Stop it. Stop it.
And I liked when the guy that's all juiced up, Ivan Drago, when he's running through the track, like they have like a quarter-mile track that's indoors, and it has these boxing things on there where he's able to hit him as he's walking, as he's running by. So I got my lift on last night, and then Chica decides to go do stuff downstairs. I took a shower. I went back in bed. I started working again, and I watched Rocky IV yet again. Right, I rewound it to the part where he's doing the workouts, and he comes back after screaming Drago, all that stuff, and Adrian's at the house, right? He didn't at the cabin. He didn't realize that she was going to be there, and Adrian is his source of strength, right? Remember when she's in bed at the hospital saying, just win, and then you hear the dun 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 dun, like that's like his cue to go kick ass.
Yeah.
Like Adrian is so part of who Rocky is. Rocky sees her there in the snow looking like a nugget, and she's over there. He's like, my nugget came, right? And it's so funny because the whole scene of him fighting Drago, it's comical, dude. And she got all mad because I started rewinding the video when he goes, he's cut. When Rocky finally hit him in the face, he's cut. And then the trainer, I forgot his name, who comes out and he's like, he's a man. He's not a machine. He's a man. Oh my God, I got so amped the F up, Joe. I got so amped up. Paulie there, he's like, man, I see 3 of them out there. And Paulie's like, hit the one in the middle. Yeah, hit the one in the middle. Dude, so many great lines in there. But he's cut. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in Rocky IV at the end, right? When everyone gets all mad because Drago punches Rocky in the face, pulls him over the ring and punches him straight downward, right? But Rocky hit him 3 times after the bell, and that was the reaction from Drago. I'm just saying, Rocky kind of deserved it, man. He kind of deserved it. And then I got pissed off at Apollo Creed because Apollo Creed deserved to die when it was all said and done. Took Drago lightly. The whole living in America thing, kind of embarrassing. Oh my God, I got way too into Rocky IV. That's a movie that just amps me up, man. And then all of a sudden the crowd starts cheering for Rocky, and and the people from the government get mad, and oh my God, then the speech at the end, if you can change and I can change, we can all change. It's so stupid. We talked last week about how Independence Day is a bad good movie.
Yeah.
Ultimate bad good movie is Rocky IV.
And look at that, Mario Cavazos is Mike. You look swollen. He says because of the workout.
Chica has a French bulldog that it's a little bulldog, but it's as Gabby calls him, the unit. He looks like an absolute unit, just a thick dog. Whenever someone rings the doorbell, he goes to the door and he goes like this. His little body, his thick body, but little legs, little arms.
Look at Daniel Castro. Did he just say Apollo deserved to die?
It did, man.
Why?
First of all, Rocky did it to him. He didn't throw in the towel. Why did Rocky not throw in the towel? That's part of it, because there was like 4 or 5 more hits, including the kill shot that happened. Even the other guy screaming, "Throw in the damn towel!" And you see Rocky there wearing a Hugo Boss sweater, just like this. Frozen.
And what did you say when Apollo died? Mike goes, good.
I mean, that's exactly what Drago said. Drago's basically said, good. In Russian, he was like, if he dies, he dies. Dude, they didn't even allow Drago to have like a walk-up music, right? For him to go up there and go up to the stage. No, they were like, no, just be at the be on the center ring, and we're gonna bring Apollo to you, right? And instead, you see this stage come down, and instead of Apollo taking it seriously, he's there doing this 4th of July dance to "Living in America" by James Brown, and they've got these showgirl dancers, and everyone's just looking around, and Drago's just looking around all freaked out, and it made him even more mad, right? Because Drago at this point is now being shown up and being embarrassed, right? He was going to kick Apollo's ass to begin with. And then Apollo gets into the ring, and Drago's like 8 inches taller than him and weighs about 80 pounds more than him. And he's like, I'm just going to outbox him. I'm just going to outbox him.
Look at this.
Outbox him? How? Drago's like a big freaking tank.
Yeah. And then
that's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what you did when he died. That's what you did when he died.
I'm not saying Apollo deserved to die, but what I'm saying is that I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I need to get that, dude.
Paulie is such a bad, good character at the same time. Paulie, who's like, remember what I said? I wanted to be just like you. Changed my mind. Hasn't seen Drago. Hit the one in the middle.
Yeah, I remember Paulie too. That movie was pretty funny because Paulie was his birthday, and Rock's all, "Hey man, I got you something. And he's thinking that he got something good for his birthday. You know, like they give him a car or something. And what does he get? That stupid ass robot, dude.
And you know what's so funny is that people refer to it as the sexy robot.
Well,
how is
he
a
changed the
robot
voice.
sexy? Because I've never considered that to be a sexy robot, but a lot of people do. How did people take that as a sexy robot? Is it because it had a female voice?
Well, he changed the voice in the beginning. It was a stupid ass voice, and then he changed the voice, and then as the story goes on, you see the robot giving him beer, whatever, and he's like, "I love her." Hey, but you know what? At least that robot can't break his heart, right?
Drew Show coming in with some facts on a super chat coming in. Again, our chat is powered by PF Chang, Slock, and Tara. He says anybody with a towel in Rocky's corner could have thrown in the damn towel. Duke could have thrown it. It would have stopped the fight. Facts, but Duke didn't have a towel on him. In that scene, Duke is not holding a towel, or he would have thrown it. I guess Rocky was hoarding the towels. I don't know, but Rocky is seeing Apollo get pummeled, literally being killed in the ring, and Rocky's like, maybe Apollo could come back.
Oh, God.
Now, Apollo did say, if I'm not mistaken, whatever you do, don't throw in the towel. But still, I mean, come on, man. Come on.
He said, whatever you do, don't throw in the towels. And you know what? Speaking of not throwing in the towel, I got to show you this because we're going to get into a little bit of, more pop culture and entertainment talk here.
Yeah.
But look at this, man. I saw this. It's official. So the King of the Hill reboot, all episodes are going to be ready to go and be ready for streaming.
Oh, Bobby's older now.
On August the 4th, man, on Hulu. Look at that. I'm interested in seeing what happened. Like what did they do? Like the Hills, what did they do? Because they left and then they came back, so it's a good dynamic there. It's going to be fun to watch.
I haven't seen a King of the Hill episode in probably 15 years, but I know all the characters' names because I was all about that show back in the day.
That's funny.
I will give it a chance, man. I will give it a chance. It's going to be on Hulu. Was say August 4th. They're advertising it all over Hulu right now. This show was ahead of its time. And it's a show that got Texas correct. I'll give you an example. We watch Big Bang Theory, and they have Young Sheldon, and then they had Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. They try to show what Texas, quote unquote, is like from the East Texas perspective, and I guess they got some of it right because they talk about the Oilers and Texas A&M football and all that stuff, right? But the town Arlen, Texas, is supposedly supposed to be Austin, right?
Yeah.
Instead of Lubies, they have Lulies. Instead of Whataburger, they have Whatachicken. they pay homage to the San Antonio, Austin area in that show. Hank Hill. I know so many people who are like Hank Hill, who are super conservative, super, that boy, right? Who are really into their tools, who are really into the drinking of beer. They're uber patriotic. They're uber loyal to their employer. They love their wife but don't want to show affection. They love their son but don't understand the son. There's so many people in Texas who are just like Hank Hill. You obviously, Mike Judge is from Texas because he nailed that character.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. And then you've got Boomhauer across the way who gets all the girls, but no one can understand a word of what he says because he just mumbles the entire time.
And then Dale
Dribble, who's the conspiracy theorist.
One of his favorite lines on that show was when he's prank calling people. And he says, "You don't know who I am, but I know where you live."
and he's married to the weather girl who's getting banged by John Redcorn, who's not going to be part of the show because, as Mike Taylor said, he got died in San Antonio the other day. Then you have Dotrieve, the barber who was in the army, who has a hard time moving on with life and secretly is in love with Peggy Hill. Peggy Hill with her, what was the size 11 foot or whatever that was, the big old foot,
pretty big foot. Yeah.
And she always talks about the fact that they feel lucky to have Bobby because of Hank's
his narrow urethra. There's been a lot of talk there. They're saying like Hank is impotent. So they said the father of Bobby is actually
Dotrieve.
Yeah.
I like Con and Connie down the street, the Asian family that
Con and Con Jr.
Con Jr. That's what it was, Con Jr. And then you have Bobby Hill, who is Bobby straight?
Yeah, of course he is, man. Come on.
I know he has a thing for Connie or Con Jr., but I don't know. He gave off those vibes. Not that there's anything wrong with it, as Seinfeld would say.
Look at Mario Cavazos, Joe Reinagle is Hank Hill. Joe Reinagle on vacation right now, by the way.
Yeah, he's in Mexico with Maggie, his new wife. Maggie's amazing. Every time I see Maggie and Reinagle, Maggie always comes up and goes, "Oh, you and Francesca need to come hang out with us," and all that stuff. And Maggie is younger than Joe, probably closer to my age than Joe's age. She's great, man. She's fantastic. Going back and forth with some of those guys from San Antonio Sports, obviously we still hang out with or talk to Pledger. I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks. I got to reach out to him. We send each other clips on YouTube and on TikToks and things like that. I've been in contact with Tim Spence recently.
Yeah,
former co-host. He and I we butted heads a lot back in the day, but man, we get along so much better now that time has passed, and he's now living in Colorado. He does, and we just reconnect, and he paid me a really good compliment the other day. He paid me a really, really good compliment the other day that I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
But he makes fun of me on Facebook because he says, "Jimenez, do you ever work? Because all you do is a podcast and go on vacations. That's all you do."
So has he watched the podcast?
He has. He has watched a little bit of the podcast. He watched an episode that we had Pledger on a while back.
Was it the one where he called you a moron?
Yeah. It was funny because he was talking to me about he reached out to me the other day and was talking to me about a show that he stumbled upon, that he was going through old files and whatever, and he found an old show of mine, and that he was listening to it, and that he was very, very happy with it. He goes, "Man," he basically just said that he didn't understand me, at the time. I didn't understand how my show fit into the whole realm of things. And ultimately I got laid off because I refused to take a pay cut. But he goes, "I was listening to it." He goes, "I was listening to it." And he goes, "Damn," he goes, "it was a really good show." And he goes, there was a bias that was there.
Yeah.
And it's funny how time goes on and time heals all wounds. And I apologize to him for me being a jackass towards him. Instead of being professional, whenever he would get upset with me, I became a jackass. So I handled the situation wrong as well. So I wasn't necessarily just the victim. I played a role in my own victimhood because I was a dick, and it was it was just weird. Uh, Wesley coming out and saying, it isn't work if you love what you do. Obviously, to all of us, you both have a deep love of sports and people. Kudos. Appreciate that, man. I love working finance. I got a text message just right now about a client wanting to move over $350,000. And it's not his money, it's his neighbor's money, and I've met the neighbor already. He took me to a barbecue restaurant on the south side that was really good. I forgot the name of it, but it was really, really good. I met with them about 3 weeks ago about that, and I was wondering when we were going to do that. They said that they're ready to go and move that money. So guess what I'm doing later on today is I have to find an investment for them to put their money in. Instead of having 22 million that I manage, it'll be 22.3 that I manage, and just keep growing that sucker. Keep growing that sucker, Joe.
And look at that, man. We have
too, man. You've been putting in some mad hours recently.
Yeah.
Department of Homeland Security. What's going on at work, man, that you can tell us?
No, just more work. Work is never ending. And I don't work for let's say ICE. I'm not out there doing that kind of stuff.
Thank you for stipulating that.
Yeah. Because before everybody gets crazy, I don't do that kind of stuff. We do other things, but yeah, it's just been nuts. Everybody's tired, burnout. We kind of need a break. And I had my 1-year evaluation come up at work already. So now I have my one-on-one with my team lead there. So we're going to have to talk, and that's going to be interesting because she's been telling me, you need to take vacation. You need to take vacation. I'm like, okay, Lindsay, I'm trying to take vacation, but when is a good time? Right. And she's like, she's like, finally is getting mad at me. She's like, just pick a date and we're going to make it happen. And I asked for 1 day off, right? July the 18th, because that's when I'm going to go to that WWE event.
Yeah.
And she goes, you got to tell me when you're going to ask for off. I'm like, all right, I'm telling you, I'm asking off for this date. And she's like, okay. And like, usually you have to wait. It's a process, right? And you have to put in 2 weeks before whatever. But since I work so much all the time, they let me have whatever I want, So I went in there and I told her, I need this date off. I'm telling you right now, done. I looked at because we have this app that we use, and I look in there. All right, I'm off. I'm like, cool. I got off on the 18th. And she's like, now just do me a favor. Go pick a couple more days that you want to take off. I'm like, all right, I'm on it, Lindsay. I said, I got to figure out where I want to go. So that's where I'm at right now. I got to figure out where I want to go and how many days do I want off.
I'm glad that you're taking that time off, man, because it's very important to have that time to energize and just recharge what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chica has this weird work schedule where she has 2 days off one weekend, then 4 days off the next weekend. So they butter up where it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. So one weekend, like this week, she has Saturday, Sunday off.
Nice.
The following week, she has Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then it's Saturday, Sunday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So she has these 4-day weekends that come around every other, twice a month. So when people ask, well, how are y'all able to go on vacations and go do stuff like that? It's because we're not the kind of people who want to go off on a 2-week vacation. We like a 3-day type of thing. But Chica's doing that, and I'm self-employed, so I get to take off whenever I want to. I feel very, very blessed. It took a long time to get in the position that I'm at right now. Man, I used to have to hustle so hard to get business, and now I'm blessed to have platforms and blessed to have clients who refer me and recommend me and stuff like that. And it's weird waking up and just getting a phone call. Hey, I have a friend of mine who wants to work with you, and that's pretty cool. So business has been going very, very, very well. But I love doing this podcast with you, Joe.
Yeah.
You kind of pulled me out of the funk that I was in. The funk that I was in was, basically all the crap that was going on in my life after I was laid off from San Antonio Sports Star. You were patient with me when it came to all that. And now look at the show develop. And there's something to be said, Joe, about how regularly we do this show, because I know that there are other podcasts out there that are local, that are San Antonio Spurs driven or Dallas Cowboys, Texas sports driven, that they flame out after a while. And how many episodes have we done, Joe? We're coming up close on
coming up 400. We're at 392. We got 8 more episodes and we're going to do 400. And you know what the crazy thing is? We've been doing this for 2 years straight, right? 2 years officially. So I'm just like, wow, man, it went by pretty quick. And speaking of, revisiting old friends and whatnot, because we had Wesley Perkins come out on the show. Guess who I talked to yesterday for a little bit?
Who's that?
Carolina Teague. Because me and her have been friends for a while. And sometimes, you think about your friend and you're like, you know what, let me call her. And she's like, it's crazy that you called me, because she was going to call me first, but I beat her to it. And we were talking and I told her, well, kind of want to have you on the show. And we're kind of working that out. And she's like, she wants it to be named The Return of the Queen of the Podcast Network. I tell her, all right. I said, I can make that happen. So it's going to be funny to get her back on. We're working on it right now. We're talking about when our schedules are going to align in the date, so that we can bring her back on so we can talk. It's going to be fun.
Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs Against 5 is reporting right now that the Spurs have re-signed Jared McLaughlin. Spurs have added a veteran guard. It says the Spurs will be slotted in Group C for the 2025 NBA Cup tournament. Again, no Dylan Harper tonight.
Yeah,
Dylan Harper will play for the Spurs on Saturday there in Las Vegas against Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks. And then talking about McLaughlin coming back to the team in some capacity at some point. They have that going on. The whole thing about Cooper Flagg, he's going to be a special player. And people are excited. All eyes are on him. And I just don't want Dylan Harper to wet the bed in his first public appearance in a Spurs jersey. That's the only thing I ask for. He's going to be rusty. He's coming off a groin injury. He's going to be rusty. I keep telling myself that, because if he goes off and he shoots 3 for 14, I got to let it be known that he's a stud, and he just needs time to cook. $5 super chat as the show's coming to an end.
Yeah, hold on. Let's go ahead and show that here.
He's going off on Spence, saying that he wrecked local radio, went back to Colorado. With all due respect, he says, Hurricane Spence. I will say that though. I mean, those were local radio was the glory days, but that was the problem. The problem was not the San Antonio Sports Star. What ended up happening was Sports Star, when we were on 103.3 and we were on 1250 and we were all the different stations, 94.7, I believe was what it was. It was locally run, but when they went to 94.1 and it had the ability to be listened to from Austin all the way down to Corpus Christi, all the way down, maybe not all the way to downtown Austin, but South Austin, you can listen to it. You can listen to it mostly through Corpus. It became a regional station. Local management no longer had a role into it, and it became a corporate-run entity. So I don't want to blame Spence for it, because it was more than just him, because there were the overlords and whatnot who were running the show, San Diego, California, and whatnot. So it wasn't just him. There were a lot of different people who were suddenly making decisions on that station that had not made decisions on it before. So Wesley saying 2 more roster spots still have to be filled for the Spurs. One your guys or summer league dudes, I'm betting. That Jones Garcia kid, man.
He good. That boy good.
He cocky, dude. He handles the rock. Now, one thing I will say about the last game that he played in the summer league game where they lost to the Lakers by 1 point, there were 2 plays that would have got him yanked by Pop. One was he got pickpocketed. Now, mind you, in an NBA game, that was a foul all day, every day. He got mugged. But he was expecting the foul to be called. He didn't play through it. He lost the ball. And then he didn't return back on defense when he lost the ball. And an easy layup was made. Pop would have yanked him back in the day. And there was another play where he kind of got caught in no man's land in the lane, had nowhere to pass the ball to. He eventually found somebody, but a good official would have called him for a 3-second violation. But aside from that, Joe, he has a swagger with the ball. And I don't know if he's going to carry that swagger if he's in an NBA game. But against those G League types, against those Summer League types,
yeah,
Garcia's walking, dribbling the ball, handling the rock like, yeah, I'm better than all you MFers out here. And that's an exciting thing to see. Because one of the ones that he's looking at going, I'm better than all of you guys, happens to be Carter Bryant that the Spurs drafted number 14 in the draft. Garcia is more ready for the NBA today than Carter Bryant is. I'm not saying that Carter Bryant's going to be a worse player. Carter Bryant might actually be the truth. But as of right now, Garcia, dude, has the confidence in his shot, has the confidence in his playmaking ability. And the dude's 6'6". I'll take it.
Look at that. JHNSB says G League starts to do nothing in the NBA. Relax. And then you have David Atwater says Garcia get by a 3-point specialist.
Well, I was telling Chico the story yesterday about Jonathan Simmons, how he tried out in Austin, how he didn't have the shoes that were needed, and he went from nowhere, from obscurity, into becoming a 4-year veteran in the NBA. Is that what it would turn out to be? I mean, he played in the NBA for a few years.
Yeah,
the Spurs, I think Orlando. It's an interesting story. It's a great story. But to say that nobody comes out of the G League is not correct. There are people who come out of the G League. Spurs have had them. Spurs have had players who have gone to the G League and bounced back. You know, you go back. Derek White was a G League guy. You know, you send them out there to try to get marinated and see if they can actually develop into something. And the Spurs have had some good success with the G League. The weird thing is, as Drew Show has pointed out, the star of the Summer League is not the guy that they got in the lottery. It's the guy that they got from the Dominican Republic, who was just kind of floating around. But again, the Spurs play tonight. It's going to be on ESPN. No Dylan Harper taking on the 76ers in the Las Vegas Summer League. Our good friend Rick Spurnandez is out there, so we'll see if we can get him on tomorrow to talk about what he sees. We'll see how many autographs he gets, how many photos he gets when he's out there, how many cups did he stack. We will find out. Thank you again to Wesley Perkins.
Yeah, and we have our friends here, Sam Salinas, Matt Gomez. They've been saying, and then Rafa here as well, talking about SAFC, and he's saying that FTC, the son, the 210, the official, he says, SG, supporters group of SAFC, they're having a tailgate Saturday before the game versus Tampa Bay. So I want to go ahead and promote that as well. Hopefully I can get to a game here, man. I've been wanting to get to a game, so we'll see, man. I'll try to make some time, square some time out here to go ahead and then visit. Right now, my nieces have been encompassing all my time on the weekends, and my little niece is again wanting to hang out with me. So I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to take her to a tailgate. I think my sister-in-law would get mad. So
yeah.
Look, we'll go ahead and show this super chat from the Drew Show. Thank you, Drew.
Here comes the money.
Yeah, $5 super chat. Thank you for the support. Talking about corporate overlords or not, you had a Caucasian guy from Houston and a Latino from San Antonio, relatively young, going viral, doesn't fit the region. I will agree with that. Whenever you have a corporate overlord, when it comes to it, they don't know what's going on locally. They have a cookie cutter approach towards how they want things to be done. And I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons why my shit got cut was because I was somebody who won a contest, and they would never see me as other than that.
Yeah,
that was the dude who won Rock the Mic 4. He's just a Rock the Mic champ.
He's just a dude.
He's not somebody who went to Texas State or UT or UNT or wherever to learn radio and brought up in radio and grew up in radio. And I was just a contest winner. Didn't matter what the ratings were. I rocked that. It's so funny. Usually when people lose their job, it's because they suck at what they do. My ratings were high, super high when it all happened. And then they filled it up with Rome, and then Rome went down because they now have Rich Eisen on there, and now the ratings have gone to crap, and then Rudy J left and all that stuff, and it was just, there needs to be Hispanic representation in local sports talk radio. There just needs to be.
No.
And there's enough. And Brandon Medina, I always said, was the one that should have been the one, because it shouldn't have been me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It should have been somebody younger. I'm 48
I miss
years
my
old.
boy. I miss my boy Brandon. I've been trying to get in contact with him too. Just want to catch up with him. So we're gonna break bread together and just catch up here soon. So it's gonna be fun to catch up with
Yeah.
Brandon. And we got an incoming super
Drew
chat
saying
too.
the Lords didn't know the reach and F them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a personal and a professional way of doing things. Professionally, when I was being told X, Y, and Z, I mean, there was a show that I did over there where I had a mutiny, if you will. We were told to talk about the Cowboys a lot.
No.
And I would talk about the Cowboys, and they would say, talk about the Cowboys some more. And talk about them some more, and then some more. You know, Cowboys town. And I'm like, we're also a Spurs town. We're also a whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to be all Cowboys talk. Well, there was one time when I was doing a show, and I decided to do a 3-hour-long Cowboy show. Every single topic, Joe, I did for 3 hours was Cowboys.
Jeez.
And they came into the room and they said, change the topic. And I said, no. You want Cowboys? I'm giving you Cowboys. And that was my way of throwing the middle finger at corporate, was by saying, you want Cowboys? I'm going to do a 3-hour Cowboys show. I'm not going to talk about the Texans. I'm not going to talk about the Spurs. I'm talking about San Antonio FC. I'm not going to talk pop culture. I'm not going to talk about movies. I'm just talking Cowboy talk the entire time.
Yeah.
And it was my way of throwing the middle finger. And that was kind of the beginning of the end, because who was I to do that, right? You know, I didn't have the cachet that Ryan Nagel or Minix had, or Rob Thompson or Pledger, or all that. I was just some contest winner who just was going off the rails. And one thing about me, Joe, is that I get angry. I mean, I turn into the Hulk sometimes. Like I have a hard time controlling my emotions, and I was very unprofessional. So I had something to do with it, because it was my unprofessional attitude sometimes of F them. And the reason why I had an F them attitude was because
the
reason why I had that F them attitude, Joe, was because that wasn't my day job.
Yeah.
You know, they would say, well, we'll let you go. I'm like, I'll make more money.
Bye.
You threatened me by saying I'll make more money. Guess what happened, Joe? I lost the gig, and I made more money. You know, it's so funny that people were all haters. Mary Rominger at the Bonita.
Está bonita. Have you seen her from KSAT 12?
KSAT 12. Yeah, that's Gabby Girl's coworker.
I don't mind getting her on the show. She willing to come on.
I'm not a big fan of her.
Why? Oh, Mike, bro. Why?
Because you can tell she's not from here. She's from California. And when she does her sports reporting, you can tell that she knows no lore of the San Antonio Spurs. She knows very little about the Cowboys and the Texans. She's an outsider doing sports in San Antonio. She's an outsider. She presents herself as an outsider. You can tell she's an outsider. And I have a hard time doing that. No different than when Drew Show is coming out saying that we need to have local representation. It's not because she's female. I'm happy for her. But I want my sports guys. Like, I'll give you an example. Larry Ramirez from KSAT, right? Very nice man. Very nice man. I can't picture him at a bar talking sports. More of a family guy who likes to talk about sports. Nothing wrong with that. But whenever I picture somebody who I want to hear sports from, I picture Jason Minix. I picture Pledger. I picture Joe Reinagel. I picture Chuck McIntyre and Don Harris. Somebody who I can picture with a cocktail in their hand talking Spurs and talking Cowboys and Texans, talking Astros and Rangers, because they're from the area, because they have lived in the area for a long time, and because I can picture them getting drunk talking Spurs, talking sports.
You know who's actually...
That's what I want to see. So Mary Rominger does a fantastic job. Larry Ramirez does an okay job. But I can't picture them at a sports bar talking Spurs. Sam Salinas has it straight. I want my tacos warm, my coffee hot, and my sports guys local. Which is why I love Carolina Teague. Carolina Teague is from San Antonio area. She grew up in Kirby, right? So she is a local Spurs fan. She's whatever. She's local. We know it. You can identify. If you brought in Mary Rominger and you brought in Carolina Teague in the room and say, which one's from San Antonio? Everyone's going to go, well, it's Carolina.
Yeah.
So the people who are hiring, you're telling me that if you are hiring for people from KSAT or Ken's, or WOAI, that there isn't local talent or people from the area that are in the minor leagues in the Corpus area,
Yeah.
the Beaumont area, the Corpus area, the Victoria area, because TV news, Joe, is like a farm system. You go to Laredo or the RGV or Corpus, and then you come into Austin, then you go to San Antonio, and then from San Antonio you go off to Houston or Dallas, and then from there you go national. San Antonio is like AAA. There's double A. There's double A going on in Austin. There's double A going on in Corpus. That's how I went from San Antonio to Corpus. I went from Corpus to San Antonio. There's a pipeline. For them to go get somebody from the outside, it's kind of like, well, why? There's people in the pipeline that are local.
Yeah.
Why are we getting people from California to come over here and talk sports? Did I go off on a tangent? Am I being a dick?
No, you went off on the tangent. But look at this. This is funny. There's no lies detected in this. They look at Jesse A says, Minix has that Friday night's lights draw that'll put you to sleep. Him and Uncle Andy, dude, from the Ticket 760, man.
Yeah, Minix has that play-by-play voice, man. And he actually does a very good job doing high school football. So there is a drawl associated with it. And maybe it's kind of like, maybe it does rock you to sleep. It doesn't rock me to sleep. I enjoy it. I look at like Carl Schoenig and Minix doing play-by-play, Katie Goodman doing play-by-play. That is a skill that is different than doing sports talk radio. It's a different thing. I talked to Rudy J about it. Rudy J doing color for high school football back in the day. He would tell me that it's different. There's a microphone, yes, but it's a different vibe. I just like local representation when it comes to it all, Joe. People who know the lore behind it all.
Yeah. Like us, you can tell that we're from San Antonio. We're puro.
Yeah.
That's why we have the grito, and we try to bring in some of the flavor of the city into what we're doing. And it's genuine. It comes across as genuine with our listener base, our fan base here. So we're very appreciative of everybody's support and helping us continue to grow the show and the channel. But Mike, we're gonna have to go ahead and call it, dude. It's time for us to go ahead and go.
We did an hour 40.
Yeah, did an hour 40.
Taco Tuesday says, I like my sports talk from Joe and co-host with bad takes. Is he talking about when Fernandez is on? Just kidding.
No, of course not. That's my
He's
dog.
talking about me. He's talking about me. He's talking about when LG's on. No, it's about when I'm on.
You know what? They love LG, bro. They love LG and they love Rick.
Everyone have a fantastic day. Again, the Spurs, 9 p.m. on ESPN. I'll be checking it out. We'll talk about it tomorrow. See who balls out in the Las Vegas Summer League. Is Jones Garcia going to go off again? 25 points in back-to-back Summer League games in California. Can he take those talents to Las Vegas? We'll figure it out. Figure it out. Thank you so much for everything that everyone does and supporting the show. Thank you again to P.F. Chang's La Cantera for doing what they do. They have happy hour every day from 3 to 6. Go check them out. They power our chat. P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Go ask for Sean. Go say hi to Sean. Say, hey, I'm here because of 210 Podcasts, Area 210 Podcasts. And hopefully they'll take care of you guys. Everyone have a fantastic day. Got to get back to work, and we'll be back tomorrow. Go Spurs, go.
See you boys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.